You know, it's funny, every time I bring up Judomaster, people give me that blank stare like I made the name up on the spot. But trust me, he is very much real, and he's had 4 different versions over the years. We see the original Judomaster in the 60s at Charlton Comics as this World War II martial artist decked out in a bright orange gi. Later, DC inherited him along with the rest of the Charlton crew, and that's when things got messy. From there, the mantle bounced around to new faces, each one with their own short run. But none of them really broke out the way Batman or Green Arrow did. And then, out of nowhere, Judomaster pops up in James Gunn's Peacemaker series, reimagined as this pint-sized fighter with an unhealthy love for spicy snacks, and suddenly, people are paying attention again. I think he's one of those names in comics that feels like it should have been a bigger deal than it ever was. And that's what this marvelous video is all about. The forgotten Charlton roots, the DC handoffs, the newer reinventions, and the Peacemaker cameo. Because once you start looking at Judomaster's history, you realize he's way more fun than he's given credit for. The original Judomaster, Hadley Rip Jagger. Alright, so let's start at the very beginning. The OG Judomaster, Hadley Rip Jagger. It's the year 1965, and Charlton Comics is pumping out war books, and they decide to shake things up with Special Wars Series 4. That's where we meet Hadley Rip Jagger for the first time. He wasn't born to money, not blessed with superpowers, not even some random vigilante in tights. He actually started his road to heroics in a boxing ring, training under his coach, Pop McKeon. That's where he picked up his first taste of discipline, footwork, and the idea that fighting isn't just about who throws the most punches, but about keeping your head together. After he graduated, his world went to hell with World War II, and Rip enlisted straight into the army. Thanks to grit and skill, he moved up the ladder quickly and landed as a sergeant. While serving in the Pacific, Rip's life took the kind of turn only comics could deliver. Leading a squad through hostile territory, he spotted a Japanese sniper about to take out a young girl. Without hesitating, Rip jumped in and saved her, but the celebration didn't last long. The island they were on was under the grip of Major Yoku and his commando forces, who had basically enslaved the locals. Rip tried to fight Yoku's men and ended up knocked cold. When he came to, he found out his entire company had been wiped out. He alone survived, saved by the same islanders he had risked his life for. The girl turned out to be the granddaughter of a wise old figure known as Sensei. Not only does it win him respect and a pat on the back, Sensei also offered Rip something you don't just hand out to any soldier passing through. He promised to teach him the secrets of martial arts, and Rip didn't hesitate. He threw himself into the lessons, body and spirit, and in no time became a master of judo. To seal it, they gave him a bright, symbolic outfit, making him the figurehead of the guerrilla fighters. It completely changes his path, and Rip Jagger ditches the regular GI image and transforms into Judomaster. Wearing that costume, Rip stepped into his new role as Judomaster. Leading the islanders, he pushed back Yoku's troops and eventually liberated the island. But Rip didn't stop there. Afterward, he returned to a nearby army base where he was given command of a new company. Instead of leaving Judomaster behind, he used the identity for covert, sensitive missions. He even came clean to General Hawkins about the persona, who decided to unleash him as a one-man strike force across the Pacific. Wherever the fighting was dirtiest, Judomaster was sent in. Because comics in the 60s loved their duos, Rip wasn't left out of the tradition and got a kid sidekick, a young Japanese orphan named Tiger. But this wasn't some tag-along who stood on the sidelines. Tiger, trained under Sensei too, proved his worth and earned his spot as Judomaster's partner. Together, they took on Axis soldiers, enemy agents, and whatever chaos was thrown their way. DC's incorporation of Judomaster. When Charlton got absorbed into DC in the 80s, they pulled characters like Blue Beetle, Captain Atom, Peacemaker, and yes, Judomaster into Crisis on Infinite Earths. Judomaster officially debuted there in issue 6, and while his role wasn't huge, it was still memorable. He fought alongside heroes from all 5 surviving Earths. Earths 1, 2, 4, S, and X against the Anti-Monitor's army of shadow demons. It was a blink and you'll miss it moment, but it made him canon in DC's new world. Now, DC didn't let go of his backstory either. While his Charlton roots stayed mostly intact, they expanded a little. Now, during World War II, Judomaster wasn't fighting alone and had joined the All-Star Squadron, DC's own team of wartime heroes, rubbing shoulders shoulders with some big names. After the war, though, things got complicated. Things got darker when DC started reimagining the Charlton crew in the late 90s. Rip couldn't exactly take Tiger back to the States with him, so instead, they went off together in search of forgotten martial arts secrets. At first, it sounded like the perfect quest, but as years dragged on, Tiger got tired of constantly being dragged from one place to another. He finally snapped, confronted Rip, and then ran away. Rip tried to track him down, but Tiger was gone. Jagger pushed forward alone until he heard stories about the hidden city of Nanda Parbat. He set his sights on finding it and eventually did. But here, inside Nanda Parbat, time worked differently. While over 50 years passed in the outside world, Rip lived in peace, untouched by age. But that bliss didn't last. Ramakrishna, the guardian of the city, summoned Rip and told him that a great evil was coming, one that Rip himself was responsible for, and he was forced out of the city to face it. Then, in 1999, came the miniseries LAW, Living Assault Weapons, that reunited DC's Charlton heroes. It revealed that the big bad of the series was the evil Avatar, and he was none other than his once cheerful sidekick, Tiger. During their fight, Rip struck Avatar's chest, stopping his heart. But then he remembered the promise he once made, to never let harm come to Tiger. He revived him, and the battle ended with Avatar retreating. The LAW won the day, but Rip wasn't satisfied. He vowed to find Tiger again, not as an enemy, but as the friend he once knew. Unfortunately, Rip's story in DC ended brutally. During Infinite Crisis in 2005 to 2006, Metropolis became ground zero for an all-out brawl between heroes and an army of villains. Rip was right there in the thick of it, holding the line, and that's when Bane stepped in. The same villain who once broke Batman's back repeated history, but this time killing Judomaster by snapping his spine. However, Rip's legacy didn't die with him. DC revealed that he had a son, Thomas Jagger. He joins the espionage organization Checkmate and ends up taking the role of the White King's Knight. That alone is a big deal because Checkmate isn't exactly an organization known for handing out membership cards to rookies, but his biggest moment comes when he finally gets the chance to face Bane, the same monster who killed his father during Infinite Crisis. While Thomas beat the man who killed his father, he made a choice to be better and chose not to execute him. That choice set Thomas apart from Bane and gave Rip's story an echo through his son. Then comes the reveal that makes Thomas even more unique. In issue 14 of Checkmate, he's confirmed to be openly gay. I know that might not sound groundbreaking now, but in the mid-2000s, having a gay hero who could trade blows with one of DC's most brutal villains was no small thing. It gave the Judomaster legacy an unexpected and powerful lair. So when you zoom out, Thomas is an often overlooked but crucial part of Judomaster's story. He honored his father by beating his killer, refused to give in to hate, and stood tall as an LGBTQ+ icon. For a legacy character, he's not the loudest voice in the room, but one you can definitely respect once you know his story. Second Judomaster, Sonya Sato. Alright, let's talk about the second Judomaster because this is where the mantle takes a sharp turn into modern DC storytelling. Sonya Sato has one of the most underrated arcs in DC. She was not thrown into the role to fill the void. Instead, she brought something fresh to the table while carrying the legacy forward in her own not-so-subtle way. What makes Sonya so interesting is that her story doubles as a commentary on what it means to be an outsider, someone trying to protect a world that doesn't always understand her. Sonya's father, Yoshio Sato, was a legendary Japanese assassin who tried to leave the Yakuza when she was born. He didn't want his daughter raised under that life, so he tried to walk away. But things didn't go well because in that world, there is no easy exit. His own brothers in the Ketsueki Sensei, the Blood Soldiers, killed him for his betrayal. These assassins worked for none other than Tiger, Rip Jagger's old sidekick turned full-blown villain. Technically, the first time fans saw a female Judomaster was way back in Kingdom Come 1 in 1996, courtesy of Mark Waid and Alex Ross. But that version barely got started before being killed off in the opening chapter. And because it was an Elseworlds tale, it all took place on Earth 22. That was more of a teaser than a fully fleshed out character. Her first proper entry into DC continuity came in 2007, Birds of Prey issue 100, when she landed in America to escape the Blood Soldiers and Tiger Tiger's influence. She turned to Barbara Gordon, aka Oracle, for help, who was in the middle of building a bigger network of operatives, and Sonya fit just right in. Sonya went on a mission with Huntress and Big Barda, protecting a mobster's daughter, and even though she didn't stick around as a permanent bird, it was the first step in her journey among DC's bigger names. It didn't take long before Sonya's past caught up with her. Things escalated when Tiger's forces, the Blood Brothers, tracked her down. The battle drew the attention of the Justice Society of America, and they saw her power firsthand. Sonya wasn't just a skilled fighter, but also a metahuman and had her metahuman gift, an aversion field that messed with her opponent's aim, making her nearly impossible to hit. That made her completely different from the others. When it was over, the authorities wanted Sonya locked up, but Damage, one of the JSA's younger members, argued, reminding everyone that the JSA was about second chances. That moment didn't just save her from arrest, but also opened the doors for her to join the JSA, alongside Lightning, Amazing Man 3, Mr. America 3, and Lance Corporal David Reed. From there, Sonya Sato became something more than a savior. She became a hero working in the legacy of older names while building her own. Language added another wrinkle to her character. Sonya didn't speak English, so her early JSA interactions were awkward. Damage bridged that gap, and their connection grew into a romance. She even kissed him after he was horribly disfigured during a battle, proving their bond wasn't skin deep. But her happiness was short-lived when Damage was killed during Blackest Night. At his funeral, Sonya honored him with a eulogy delivered entirely in Japanese, a rare and powerful moment in a mainstream superhero comic. It wasn't about making it easy for everyone else to understand, but it was about honoring him in the way that felt truest to her. Damage's death lit a fire in her. She set her sights squarely on Tiger, and revenge felt like the only path forward. Later, with help from King Chimera, she finally captured Tiger. But comics love their turning points, and hers came courtesy of King Chimera. He convinced Sonya that killing Tiger wouldn't heal anything. Instead of spilling blood, Sonya took Tiger's money and used it to create relief funds for the people who had been caught in the crossfire. In doing so, she honored Damage's memory, stayed true to her own moral compass, and proved that her strength wasn't just in combat, it was in resilience. Then came Flashpoint, which reset timelines across DC. In the post-Flashpoint world, Sonya reappeared in the New 52 continuity as Major Sonya Sato, this time living on Earth 2. In this world, global politics were a little more unified, and she served in the World Army as the commanding officer of Captain Al Pratt, better known as the Atom. She worked with the Heroes Initiative, a unit made up of Captain Steel, Red Arrow, Jay Garrick's Flash, and others. Sonya led field missions, including the attempt to bring in Garrick after his powers awakened in Lansing, Michigan. She later oversaw Atom's missions into Vietnam and against Steppenwolf. While Pratt and the others fought, Sonya stayed at the Arkham base, where she ran into the new Batman, who was trying to release the World Army's metahuman prisoners. So, Sonya Sato's Judomaster has lived multiple lives across DC's shifting continuity. Assassin's daughter, bird of prey, JSA recruit, grieving lover, and eventually a military commander on Earth 2. Through all of it, her cultural identity, her metahuman powers, and her personal struggles made her more than just the next Judomaster. Her story wasn't about vengeance or proving herself through violence. It was about finding another way forward when rage could have consumed her. And that's why Sonya remains such a fascinating, underrated part of the Judomaster legacy. Judomaster in Peacemaker, HBO Max. HBO's Judomaster in Peacemaker may not look like much at first glance, but he ends up being one of the most dangerous fighters in the whole show. Here, Judomaster is played by No Lee, and the first thing you notice is that he's not some hulking martial arts legend. Although he is small in stature, the guy fights like his fists were forged with iron. He starts out as the bodyguard of Senator Royland Goff, working for the Butterfly Conspiracy, and every single time he steps into a fight, you realize you shouldn't have underestimated him. When he crosses paths with Peacemaker, Vigilante, and Amelia Harcourt, he doesn't just hold his ground, but wipes the floor with all three of them. That's the first hint that this little green-suited fighter is on a different level, but his luck takes a sharp turn when John Economos quite literally runs him down with a truck. You would think that would finish the job, but nope. Even after being mowed over, it still takes multiple blows from a tire iron to finally knock him out. They drag him back to their headquarters, thinking he's dealt with, but the second he regains consciousness, he pulls a clean escape and goes right back to throwing hands with Peacemaker like nothing happened. In episode 4, Leota Adebayo puts a bullet right in his chest. That would put most people out of commission, but you see, Judomaster isn't most people. He gets recaptured only to break out again later, and instead of lying low, he makes a pit stop at a gas station where he beats down 2 guys who made the mistake of mocking his height. Because the guy has a sore spot about his height. You tease him for being short and he will flip instantly. And because of this, a lot of his run-ins with Peacemaker turn into less serious battles and more like 2 kids on a playground trading insults while trying to beat each other up. It's petty, it's hilarious, and it makes him more fascinating than just another faceless bodyguard. Because the longer you watch him, the more you realize Judomaster's not just a mindless bruiser and is certainly sharper than he lets on. Of course, the guy loves his flamin' hot Cheetos, and it's such a small, humanizing detail, but it gives him a weird charm. Now, this Judomaster has zero connection to Rip Jagger's legacy. DC didn't bother tying him back to the Charlton roots. He is not the son, the student, or even a distant nod to the original World War II soldier. He has no supernatural abilities like Sonia Sato in the comics. No Lee's version is stripped down to the basics: pure martial arts, sharp reflexes, and the kind of confidence that makes you wonder if he knows something you don't. What James Gunn and the writers basically did was create a brand new spin for the DCEU. Instead of treating Judomaster like a big heroic figure or a direct hand-me-down of the mantle, they dropped him into a modern action comedy with a darker edge. He is deadly serious in combat, but the show also has fun with the fact that this pint-sized fighter keeps flooring people who underestimate him. And while he doesn't have Rip's war story or Sonia's mysticism, this version still pays a kind of tribute. The martial arts mastery is front and center, echoing what made the original Judomaster stand out in 1965. The difference is, instead of being a patriotic war hero, he is knee-deep in a conspiracy plot full of alien butterflies and over-the-top characters. Marvelous verdict. And that's the thing about Judomaster. He was never the face on the poster, but that's exactly why I like him. 4 completely different takes on one name, starting with a World War II fighter in Charlton's comics, getting tossed around when DC took over, and then finally finding a weirdly perfect fit in Peacemaker. None of it makes sense on paper, but it's all tied together by one very strange legacy a superhero could ask for. And now, thanks to a streaming series with a talking bald eagle, Judomaster finally got the kind of attention he never had on the page. I like to think that's the fun of following characters like him. You watch your childhood favorite panel and TV stumble their way into creating something memorable out of scraps. It's a pretty crazy ride for a hero who started out in orange pajamas, sure, but it's the kind of weird that makes me want to keep talking about him. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.